Tatiana Danina. The Teaching of Djwhal Khul. New Esoteric Astrology. Chapter 14. On what does the sun indicate? Any astrologer primarily explores the so-called solar zodiac sign. This is the most important, from what we need to start any horoscope. Why is the solar sign important? Because it is an indication on the position in the sky, or rather, on the orbit around the sun, of our own planet, Earth. In contrast to the situation of other planets, the sun and the moon, which are only performed and transformed influence, radiation. That is in the case of positions of the planets in the signs we define the quality adjustment of the radiation reaching the Earth. And in the case of the solar sign we don't make such adjustment, we are talking about the quality of the radiation reaching us directly and our planet. It is not changed, not transformed, by a planet or other celestial body, getting up in its way. All zodiacal influence on the human body is based on the location of the planet in a particular area of the sky. All the Earth's orbit we divide into 3 zones. They correspond to the projection on the 3 main giant celestial bodies, to which our solar system is related and by which it is determined. These are the nucleus of the galaxy, the supergalaxy and the central body of the universe. The sun, as mentioned, also affects. But it is at the center of the system, and thus does not divide the sky into zones. Each of these zones of the orbit is projected on one of the nuclei. All 12 constellations can be divided into 3 groups of 4 each. Each group indicates on one of the nuclei. On the nucleus of our galaxy, on the nucleus of supergalaxy, which includes our galaxy, and finally, on the central celestial body. The constellations of all 4 elements, earth, fire, water and air, are presented in each of the 3 groups. We have told above about the reasons for using of this classification. Particles of different elements have different inertial force and move at different speeds. And particles of 4 elements are slowed and stopped on the different sectors of the orbit differently. Photons of the element air are least absorbed and have the longest inertial motion. Then, water. Then, fire. And then, earth. Because of this the quality of the radiation reaching the Earth, our planet, is changed. Depending on the sector of the Earth's orbit, the Earth receives radiation different in quality. Nevertheless, on any sector of the orbit our planet anyway receives particles from each of 3 giant celestial bodies and not only from that to which it is closer. However, the greater closeness to one of the nuclei, and the smaller to other affects the quality of the energies reaching the Earth and irradiating it. 12 constellations, 12 zones of the orbit. Each zone is a radiation of a new quality radiation. Because of this difference there are 12 types of human characters and not just people. Each sector of the orbit is a projection on one of the constellations and simultaneously on one of the nuclei. Each sector of the orbit, one of 4 in each of 3 groups, belongs to one of the elements. A sector Earth indicates that in this area very many particles of the quality Earth reaches the Earth's orbit. But on other sectors there are less of them. A sector fire, the particles of this element begin here to slow down. Water, particles water stop here. Air particles. In the end, it turns out that on the sector of the element Earth there are most particles of varying quality, and earth, and fire, and water, and air. And all because of the proximity to the greatest nucleus that affects on the planet. On a sector fire there are the particles fire, water and air. And earth is a little. On a sector water there are the particles water and air. Fire is a little. Earth is and even less. And finally, in the sector air there are the particles largely air. And in general, here there is less in total of the radiation of the nucleus because of the largest distance to it. Particles of remaining elements there are a little. Do not be surprised. These 3 nuclei very affect us. For example, the orbits of the planets are elliptical because of the attraction of the galaxy nucleus. Ellipticity is expressed differently because of unequal fields of attraction and repulsion of the planets. In the language of science, due to differences in mass, although to speak so is not entirely correct, since the mass, it's the gravity field, and to indicate the repulsive field in science there is no concept of antimass. Within each of the three groups on the orbit there are 4 sectors corresponding to the 4 zodiac constellations, more precisely, to the projection on them. And in each of these 3 groups you will find a repetition of the following sequence: earth, fire, water, air, if you go in reverse order. Again, here we present a slightly outdated version of the classification. Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, earth, fire, water, air. Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius. Virgo, Leo, Cancer, Gemini, the same. The group 1 indicates on the projection of our galaxy. Second, on the projection on the sky of the supergalaxy nucleus, which includes our galaxy. Third, the projection of the central body of our universe. Now, however much has changed in the sky, we need to make adjustments. Note the interesting fact. When our planet is on a particular part of the orbit, that is projected on a particular constellation, at this very time the Sun projected on the opposite constellation on the sky. That is, for example, if the Earth, planet, is projected on the Virgo in relation to the Sun at this time is projected on Pisces. But we need to keep in mind at this time just the position of the planet, that is, we need to aware that the planet at this time is the closest to the Virgo, although astrology speaks about the solar sign Pisces. And so there is in the case of each constellation. That is, we need to evaluate that element, to which the constellation belongs, on which the planet is projected, not the Sun. The solar sign Aries. The Sun relative to the Earth is projected to Aries, the planet relative to the Sun is projected on the Libra. The planet at this time is closest to the nucleus of our galaxy. But as Libra is the air element, then the planet is the farthest from the nucleus in comparison with other 3 sectors of this group: Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. That is, a human born under the sign Aries gets the energy of the quality air, as the planet is projected on Libra, air sign. Air is particles carrying the most energy, emitting most of ether energy. The solar sign Taurus. The Sun is projected on the Taurus and the planet relative to the Sun is projected on the Scorpio. The planet is the closest to the nucleus of the galaxy. Scorpio is the element water. So the planet a little closer to the nucleus than the previous sector, Libra, air. The human under the sign Taurus receives energy of water, as the planet is projected onto the Scorpio, the water sign. Here we should pay attention to the following fact. We usually say about the zodiac sign, focusing on the projection of the Sun. For example, the Leo is fire sign for us, the Virgo is earth, the Libra is air, and the Scorpio is water. In reality everything is reversed. And you need to consider the element of the constellation where our planet is projected. Leo is an air sign. It corresponds to the position of the planet in Aquarius. Virgo, water. The planet is in Pisces. Libra, fire. The planet is in Aries. And Scorpio is earth. The planet is in Taurus. And we need to analyze other signs in the same way. Fire signs are air. Air are fire, earth are water, and water are earth. After all, according to the classification of 4 elements, the particles air are most energy saturated, fire, slightly less, water, rather energy privative, and earth, the most energy privative. Air and fire is yang, spirit. Water and earth is yin, matter. In real astrology we should reverse all signs and consider the position of the planet Earth. However, in reality, due to changes in the sky, now the many have shifted. We can confidently assert that the given scheme was 100% true in the early days of astrology. Now it so happens that not fire sign as once but earth one is opposed to the sign of air. An example is Gemini and Sagittarius. Gemini is an air sign. A Sagittarius was fire, but now it is earth. Secular Western astrology does not know and does not take into account very much. For example, the fact that Capricorn is now empty sector of the sky. That is the constellation not related to any one element is opposed to the water sign of Cancer. We need constantly remember that the position of the constellations in the sky changes. And there is a movement of our solar system as part of the galaxy, which means that it is displaced relatively to the nuclei of supergalaxy and the central body of the universe. And the very nucleus and the whole our galaxy rotates around the nucleus of supergalaxy. And supergalaxy rotates too. Because of this we need constantly to correct the astrological projections. Because of this the zodiacal signs are shifted. Projections now are not the same, that of a century ago. In the books of Alice Bailey it says that once upon a time was not 12 signs, and 10. It's right. Because of all these rotations of celestial bodies around each other and around themselves periodically there are situations when the nuclei are projected on the same areas of the sky, and at this time, other areas remain empty. This means that from this side the radiation from the giant celestial bodies is weakened due to their displacement. While the combined effects of radiation of the shifted nuclei will cause at certain times of the year, when the planet is moving on the orbit, the increase